Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ, and I am here with Nick. And today on the show, we have Nat Turner, CEO of Collectors Universe, which is a holding company of PSA, which is the industry-leading authentication and grading company. You know, I checked the stats. I think it was last month there was over 1.2 million grades that were done by PSA. And friend of the show, because this is the second time Nat's been on the show.
That's
So,
right.
Nat, welcome back to the show.
Welcome
Thanks
back,
for having
Nat.
me.
Awesome to
Thanks.
have you back. So, Nat, the first thing we wanted to cover with you between the last show that you were on and this one, you guys acquired SGC. And I actually we put out some questions to kind of fans of the show that they wanted to ask you directly. One of the big ones they asked is, will you be combining SGC into one universal registry? And how will you deal with like the SGC 9.5 as part of that?
Yeah, we'd like to do a combined set registry. The reality is we have a lot of product and technology projects and initiatives we're working on that take precedent over. I mean, honestly, we're still struggling to put resources on the PSA set registry, let alone the PSA SGC combined set registry.
Right.
So it is a goal. SGC is being left alone. Dave and Pete are running it just as they were. No plans to, change their holders or change their grading scale or do anything, that's two separate brands. So a combined set registry makes absolute sense. We just don't have the resources to pull off the tech side of it.
Of course.
And for what it's worth, most collectors that we talk to, this just goes in the prioritization of it. Again, we'd like to, but the prioritization of it, the research shows that most people collect one or the other. There's plenty of people who collect both, but it was like 78% or something, or like very one, or like they don't have slabs of the other company.
Huh.
It's just one or the other. And so it's actually a smaller population. It's the very vocal population of
Sure.
folks.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a Venn diagram. The vocal people with
Yeah.
both are in the middle, but
Which
it's
is great.
20%. And so, we'll do it in a couple of years. Yeah.
So we're focused mostly on the PSA set registry, and SGC had one, and it shows you. I mean, it's hard to maintain these things because there's not just tech, there's people involved, and but yeah, that's good. Oh, and on the 9.5, I actually, for what it's worth, like the Mint Plus thing they do.
Mhm.
PSA has half grades, goes to 9, and then it jumps to 10.
Mhm.
We have no plans of changing that, to be super clear, but.
Sure.
SGC, if a card looks really nice and it's almost a 10, but it's not quite there, dropping all the way to a 9, like I totally get it.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's not something that we have to worry about at the moment with a set registry because we don't have a combined set registry. But
Makes
I just
sense.
want to mention, like, I actually do like that. That's probably one of my favorite things about the SGC is that little tweak to the grading scale, but not something we're going to do at PSA. So
Okay. Yeah, good to know. Thank you.
Speaking of set registries, I do want to give you a shout out. We were talking right before this show. For those that do use PSA, make sure that you're putting your cards on the registry themselves and creating different collections. I had the opportunity during the National to attend PSA's set registry award ceremony, and it has nothing to do with this show. I wasn't invited because of the show. I was invited because one of my sets qualified to show up. And PSA did an incredible job of making everybody there feel very special. It was a very unique opportunity. So if you're sitting at home and you haven't put your cards through that registry and started creating your own sets in that registry, get after it, folks.
And check your
Get after
email
it.
because I got an invite to the registry and didn't check I have like a bunch of number one sets, like
Oh, yeah.
86 Fleers. It's too funny. I wasn't at the National anyway, but I'll make sure I check next year.
That mistake will not happen next year, Nick.
Yeah, it was awesome. It'll be even better next year.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. All right. I'm
Look
adding more
forward
stuff.
to it, everybody. So Nat, you did touch on, so one of the questions that I wanted to ask was around your PSA 10. And I just want to get your opinion on whether you believe like the standards have changed with a PSA 10, kind of more like older slabs, like vintage slabs versus now today, like the grading. Has the grading gotten harder? It just kind of feels like that. Like maybe back in the day it was a little bit easier to get a 10. It's it's a lot more difficult now, it feels like, or or vice versa. Maybe it was a lot harder last. Like, what are your thoughts around? Has the standards changed?
It's funny, we hear the opposite from sometimes. It really depends on who
Yeah.
you talk to, and it's going to be something everyone loves to debate every time, every chance they get. No, I mean, our standards haven't changed. Our grading team has largely, I mean, there's folks in the room who started working here the year I was born. I mean,
Oh, wow.
like,
That's great.
not only have the standards not changed, the people actually haven't even changed.
Oh, wow.
So, but I hear it, a lot. I mean, I think it depends on the cards people look at. For example, like the super modern stuff, I don't know, 50-60% of them are tens now.
Yeah.
The Prism, like Victor Wembanyama, and so those folks are like, you're giving out too many tens, and then and then the
Wow,
80s
50,
guys are like,
60%. That's
well, I mean, you can
interesting.
look it up on
Yeah,
on our
sure.
product.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Look at the
Yeah, and
registry.
Yeah,
then
right.
the 80s and 70s collectors, they accuse us of not giving out any 10. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
no, the standards haven't changed. The grading team is every card gets reviewed multiple times by multiple graders. I do hear the conspiracies around like older holders and new, and we see a lot of those. I think it's interesting that most of those come back in for reholder.
Huh.
So like if there
Hmm.
was um some people say, oh well, it was harder to get tens back then. Well, you would think that old holders then command a premium, but in fact most people are sending, well, we see a ton of those come in for reholder. So then that really doesn't make sense, you know what I mean?
So there's
um
just conspiracies and different
I don't know.
thinking
I
on both
just, yeah,
sides.
like, I think it depends on who you ask. Everyone has
Right.
their own opinion, but
Yeah. You made a
as a
strong point
player,
there saying
yeah,
not only have the standards not changed, but the people haven't
yeah, it's the
changed.
same people. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Seriously.
But
I
I mean, I'll tell you
know.
the other thing. I mean, we are using technology too. Like we have
Oh,
technology
okay.
for detecting counterfeiting. We use technology for centering now. So you like the
Hmm.
system will not let you give a 10 if the card is less than the allowable centering for a 10.
Interesting. So you're
Interesting.
using like a computer program or
Yeah.
AI or something like that to be a
Yeah, no,
backstop.
it's still up to the human at the end of the day, the
Hmm.
grader, to come up with the overall grade. But as it relates to centering, like a max allowable grade is a thing for, if the card is
Right.
70-30, it certainly cannot be a 10.
Sure.
Now we were very good at making sure 70-30 centered cards weren't getting a 10 before, but mistakes happened in a purely manual,
Hmm.
environment.
Hmm.
So, we're nudging towards, even more consistency and accuracy using tech as well. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Interesting.
When did you start using that tech, Nat? I'm just curious.
Um, the counterfeiting stuff, probably counterfeit detection, I don't know, a year ago, maybe.
Okay.
Centering. I mean, I've talked about this before on some other pods, but like centering, I think it's 6 months ago,
Oh
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
again, it's a co-pilot. It's not,
Hmm.
our vision is not automated grading. Our vision is technology assisted human grading.
Assisted. Wow.
Um, that's the most accurate way. I mean, so many cards, you just,
Yeah.
with a two-dimensional picture, you just can only do so much.
Hmm.
And even then, the feel of the card, in some cases, the smell of the card, like you just can't
Yeah.
replicate, and all the different angles that you hold it in under a certain lighting to detect surface defect. Like pure automation's not, in my opinion, not the answer. Other people disagree with that. That's totally fine.
Mhm.
But our solution is meant to be a hybrid of the two.
Yeah, it's cyborg grading. Little human, little machine,
Maybe.
right?
There
Yeah,
we
I mean,
go.
right now it's mostly human, which is what we want. I mean, in my opinion, this is it's more of an art sometimes with certain cards. Like, you have to have history and experience, seeing thousands of cards of that exact type to
Hmm.
know what good looks like and what
Sure.
real looks like. And that you can't automate that,
Yeah,
But now,
makes sense.
certain cards you probably could, like modern Pokemon and all that ultra modern Pokemon. It's and Prism, there's less of an art to that, but it's still prone to error, and you have to be very good at it.
Hmm.
Excellent. Yeah, it's interesting. Just speaking of errors and stuff, you may not be that close to this, but obviously me and LZ are very big time autograph collectors. I have the
Mhm.
86 Fleer set autograph, the
Yep.
69 Top set autograph. LZ's three away from 86 Fleer. There was a major change. Actually, after you were on our show last year, we submit autographs all the time,
Mm-hmm.
hundreds, dozens, and we're part of groups that submit hundreds. We
Mm-hmm.
noticed last winter, and it was almost like turning on a dime that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, PSA started before they very liberally used N9.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of N9 usage. They weren't sure, you don't charge, you ship it back. We noticed not like a 10% shift, like a 10x shift into going into, questionable on autographs. And we've had feedback from a lot of people submitting things. Did something change or something happen over the winter with the autograph authentication process? Or, can you think of anything, or are you not that close to it?
I'm pretty close to it, but I mean, there was no, yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, in nine, we basically pass on judgment and the cards are returned free. And then in four, I think you're referring to
Oh,
would
sorry,
be,
in four. Yep.
that's fine. No, well, it could be anything. It could, there's multiple, but with autographs, it would be in four.
Mm.
If we think the autograph is fake, then we're gonna, say it's
Yeah.
fake. And if it's definitive, and then, the submitter is charged. But no, there was no policy that said start doing in four instead of in nine. I think the one thing we did start doing is we started in foring autograph cards where we suspected the card was fake. Which
Interesting.
prior to we had not done. You could submit a reprint, you know, Frank Thomas, no name on front, and it'd go on a trading card holder, and it could. But we start penalizing that because an unsuspecting or uneducated buyer could see our red, and we also switched to blue flips for those trading card encapsulations. But no, I don't. I'm not aware of a
Interesting.
inline four switch
Yeah, it
on.
seemed like a seismic shift
Yeah.
that probably would have been
You
noticed.
submitting a lot of fake auto. I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Maybe
It could have been a
maybe I'm
you
just
thing,
getting
huh?
screwed or something like that. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, we're obviously deep in
Yeah.
the trenches of this, so I was
Mhm.
curious. But yeah,
No,
I
not that I
mean,
know of, but I mean, you have me curious. I'll definitely,
it might be worth peeking at,
yeah.
because
Mm.
I don't know, maybe the revenue and autograph authentication's down, and
No,
who
no,
knows?
no. Autographs, for what it's worth, have been super strong.
Okay,
Yeah, we've seen, and across the board, like dual grade stuff in particular.
Hmm.
all
So
right,
it wouldn't be what you're referring to, but like people who are submitting like, ultra modern, RPAs, they're more and more people are electing for dual grade instead of just card grade only, which is
Yeah.
part of our autograph division. I mean, authenticating a pack pulled auto is usually easy. Unfortunately, it's not
sure.
always, but and then grading it also falls under that team. But yeah, and then the witnessing stuff. The biggest trend we've been seeing on autographs in the last 6 months has been coordinated signings of and crackouts of cards, like high grade cards, to get the
Hmm.
autographs, get the card signed by a certain player. Like we did one with
Hmm.
Jordan, Michael Jordan. I think we talked about that one publicly.
Oh
Brady,
yeah.
Tom Brady. We did Ricky Henderson at the National. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We signed one of his sticker PSA 10 86 clear stickers. We've done. I don't. It's probably several a month of like where someone brings in a high grade PSA 10, beautiful multiple copies typically. We crack them out under our supervision,
Hmm.
uh, get them autographed, witnessed in our supervision, and then reholdered, or in this case, re-slabs, regraded, to
How does that go
ensure.
down? Do you literally have somebody follow them, like follow to the
Yeah, no, the
machine,
card never
watch
leaves
the
our
crack?
possessions. Most of
Sure.
the time, it's in our office. In the case
Okay.
of Michael Jordan and some of the other names, it's actually at their house. But we'll
Okay.
or not their house, but at some offsite location.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, we'll bring the card, like we'll crack them out, like it's in like someone's hand in a briefcase, like it never leaves our possession. And we do that to make sure the card's not damaged, most importantly. Provenance, we want to witness the autograph, very important. And then once this in the signing, make sure the subject's not damaging the card.
Of course.
You can imagine with the Jordan PSA 10s, like six of them, like, you screw up one of those cards is $200,000
Ooh,
mistake.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
but it's a really fun thing because, there's in the hobby, 10 10s, 10 card grade, 10 auto grade are a huge deal.
That's the
That's tough.
best.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
the MJs, there were only two 1010s and 86
Oh,
flair.
really? Wow.
There's a Larry Bird 1010 and then I think a Hakeem 1010. So it's
The
been
auction
really
will be over by the time this airs, but a Brady, one of these, a 2000 upper deck Brady 1010 is on eBay right now from that
Oh,
signing. And I think it's the second one that's ever gotten a 1010. So,
wow.
were
but
you
yeah,
there
it's
for the
super cool.
MJ signing?
No, no, no.
Bummer.
No, I mean,
Oh.
MJ, I mean, I'd probably faint and like damage the cards if I was there. It's probably a good thing I wasn't there.
Start drooling on them. Yeah.
No, yeah, I would like just like shake in the
Hmm.
card would fly across the room.
Yeah.
No, but
Hey,
there's professionals here that handle that.
sure.
I would just be getting in the way.
Got it.
Are you looking to expand that offering then? It sounds like these are starting to pick up a
We
little
thought, yeah,
bit
we
more.
thought about it. It's a really customized, like,
Mm,
what's the right word? Like high touch, white glove thing. Like I don't anticipate there being like a button on the website that says, I
right.
mean, people reach out to us through customer service and, it has to be worth the time because, we travel, like we have 2 or 3 people involved, like, a crack out special, someone who can crack out the card. We have a grader involved who's like making sure the card doesn't change in its quality. We have a DNA witnesser for also grading the autograph. So, I mean, there's, it's a big thing and it doesn't always make sense like getting not to rip on I'm just picking one but like if someone brought in a bunch of Jose Canseco rookie card PSA 10s like it's not gonna make sense and so this is
Right.
a very expensive service but
Hmm.
like the Ricky Henderson at the National 1010 19 like freaking awesome
Oh yeah.
like so few of those you can imagine there's probably 20 to 30 living athletes or subjects that this makes sense for and
Hmm.
Sure.
yeah, we would totally do it for anyone who has a opportunity for us to help. We'd rather it happen under our watch than someone cracking out the slab on their own and sending the card back to us fully raw because you never know what can happen.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, but
Interesting.
we'll see. I mean, we're playing
Yeah.
around with it right now. It's a fun. It's
Right.
super cool to see these cards.
Yeah. Yeah. What a cool experience. So you mentioned that autographs are just gaining popularity, right?
Mhm.
And we just saw recently that CGC bought JSA. They're kind of teaming up. Um, and just curious, like why should people stay with PSA instead of moving over there? Any more innovations? I mean, you talked about this service, which I think is kind of an innovative
Yeah.
service, but there is a bit more competition in the space now, right? With another player. So what are your kind of overall thoughts and why should people stick with you and what do we have look forward to in the future around autographs?
Yeah, I mean, look, JSA's been around for a while. I don't think it's not a new, autograph authentication business out of
Mm,
nowhere. No, I would say, look, we earn our business every day. Generally through the value people ascribe to our opinion, and we have to be really good at that, getting it right and making sure we take autograph authentication, but just as important, card authentication seriously, which is a hopefully described. I mean, we are more and more with tech as an example. But the combo typically for PSA is very powerful, and I think it's really smart. CGC and JSA are you have a dual grade, if you will, a
hmm.
slabbed dual grade. That's great. Beckett's had that for a long time as well. PSA/DNA is our combined offering, and every day we just try and be the best at card grading and auto grading and authentication as we can, and people will speak with their cards with their wallets depending on where
Sure.
they send it based on who can provide the most value to that card and that's what I think. I mean, I think our investment in tech is probably unprecedented in this hobby. Like we've
Mm,
we've grown from 20 engineers to 150 in the last 3 years and the vast majority of them are going towards core grading and PSA as opposed to like internal tool stuff that doesn't actually
right.
customers wouldn't benefit from.
Hmm.
Um, so that's at its core. I mean, the investments we're making are going to pay dividends to customers, collectors for the next 30, 40 years, I hope. So
Hmm.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of investments, you guys are getting into comic grading. I saw the announcement maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. When is that actually going to start happening? And what do you
yeah.
expect to see there? You expect that to just be like rapid growth, or what do you expect out of that?
You know, this was largely in response to our customers, our collectors, wanting a uniform collection, wanting I think it really started with sports magazines, Sports Illustrated's, Beckett's, things that had autographs on them as well that they wanted the PSA DNA. But really, the set registry, pop reports, wanting uniformity with their collection. Most of them are big card collectors. And that's where it started. A lot of those people, being very adamant that we help them, slab their other collectibles um, books. And so that's where that's where we started. And then we quickly, as we built a TCG division here at Collectors, a pop culture division more broadly, that contains obviously trading card games, but also Funko Pops and other, video games like with Wada, et cetera. Comic books kept bubbling, to the top.
Right.
And I'm under no like, CGC is a great, trusted brand, probably similar to PSA and trading cards. So I'm under no illusion that we think, we're gonna, take half the market or something in a year or two. It's gonna take a long time. We're gonna have to earn the business, the trust of comic book collectors, magazine collectors as well. So we're anticipating it to, take time. We're very excited. I mean, we have a lot of people and dealers that have already committed and signed up, even sent us, in a couple of cases, like we didn't even want them to, like they just sent them to PSA thinking we were already ready to start slabbing them. But we're gonna take it very seriously. We already have a head authenticator grader. We've got a whole, ops team built around it. To answer your question, it'll be first half next year. We're not going to start slabbing, unfortunately, this year.
Okay.
We are slabbing like promotional books that we gave away some, for example, at Comic-Con 2 weeks ago. But as far as retail submissions coming in, dealers, it's going to be another 6 months or so.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
6 months. So I'm already looking ahead, right? So all right, great. Now they're doing comics. All right, what's next? What is next? Like I'm starting to hear that music is becoming popular, like
Hmm.
records and CDs and cassettes.
Hmm.
Has PSA thought about that, or what?
Yeah,
Or
we're
the
we're
yeah.
we're doing more and more under the Wada brand with media, if you will. So like we
Mm,
started doing Blu-ray, DVDs, VHS, stuff like that.
nice.
It's totally, in the cards for that brand to push into, music media, if you will. Vinyl's a tough one because the slabs are so damn big.
Mm.
And, you know, I don't know, it's like you could kill someone with the amount of plastic
It's pretty massive,
that
right?
so we've thought about it. And vinyl collectors are finicky, just like card collectors, which we love. They're
Mhm.
very particular. Many of them like to play their records. There's a lot of discussion. It's not a thing grading vinyl, like, which is good for our collective businesses, us and whoever else decides to get into grading. I know there's that Steve Aoki one, for example, but
Mhm.
Mhm.
um, it's not and video games, it wasn't accepted either really at first, but I mean, it's just not a thing yet. And so,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't think
Just wait.
we're
Yeah.
not jumping in at the moment. We're going to push into the other, smaller media forms, like I
Hmm.
said, through WADA. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's so yes, I agree that a record vinyl slab would be huge.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity at the National actually to interview Michael Rubin, and we asked
Yeah.
him just what are some opportunities in the space, and he actually mentioned that slabs in general are an opportunity to kind of level up, and
Mhm.
he thinks they can get better and better. Has Michael Rubin or Fanatics ever talked to you guys about an acquisition or a partnership? That would be kind of question number one. And then the second part of that is, do you think he will get into that or Fanatics will get into slabbing and authentication at some point if they haven't already?
So we just announced our partnership with Fanatics. It was before the Nationals. So this would have been like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now PSA is a grading partner of Fanatics Collect. So if you send raw cards to what was PWCC, for years, you could not get them graded by PSA. So that's now um, turned on and actually
Okay.
scaling pretty fast. So,
Mm,
Huh.
and that'll, we hope, will evolve into Fanatics Live and other properties of theirs where, if you pull a awesome card on Fanatics Live, like you can on Whatnot and Loop currently, you could click one button and it sends to PSA.
nice.
And then you could have it go back into their vault or whatever you want, sold in what was PWCC or now Fanatics Collect. And so that's our partnership with them. And, we have a very tight working relationship with Topps for accepting the cards they print, as the third party grader. We're very focused on being neutral to all the manufacturers. I think it's widely speculated all the things they're wanting to do, and it's not my place to, that you should ask him that.
Yeah,
Sure.
He's gonna. But I mean,
we
we're
will.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, we're
Yeah,
we're very we're very focused on our own platform,
yeah.
and we want to be open and partner with everybody. I mean, that was a major reason we divested Golden um, earlier this year. It allowed us to have a much more neutral relationship with our auction house and dealer customers without any
Oh,
with any
Interesting.
sign of conflict, even though there really wasn't.
okay.
I think it actually came out in Darren Ravel's media source. I mean, we ran Golden much to their chagrin that, like a separate company. I mean, we gave them no preference whatsoever. But, the optics of it weren't great. And so we cleaned that up and importantly got eBay as a partner, where, you can sell through eBay now on eBay through PSA, which has been welcomed by our customers. So yeah, I mean, and I will mention Michael's brought up to us before and publicly that he thinks slabs can be better.
Hmm.
It's interesting. We've improved our slabs a ton in the last year. I think people have seen some of it. I mean, we've enhanced the plastic. It's
Mhm.
heavier. It's more resistant to UV.
Harder to
It's just,
crack.
oh, it's way harder to crack. Yeah, but that's an example. And we've done a ton. And people, I'll be honest, collectors don't really complain about our slab. Like we get complaints about a million other things,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like we get 1,000 complaints a day, but usually it's around, turnaround times or whatever. It's the slabs are not usually the thing we hear about. And so, but I agree with him that, for a high-end card, you want it to be like a Picasso on your wall. And
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. And
Mhm.
I think, opening up our hobby to higher end collectors of other things is very important. I love their partnership with Sotheby's for that reason. And I agree, you're not going to stick a PSA slab like this on a wall. But then again, most people don't put cards on their walls, right?
Right.
Because there's a lot of reasons for that too. But
Mhm.
so we are thinking about, the displayability of PSA slabs. I think, Kate, I don't know if it's the slab itself or it's more just the display around it. A lot of companies are innovating, startups are innovating in that space as well. Um,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't, yeah,
I think what he's talking to there, and I agree with it's a problem we don't have a solution for yet. We all have beautiful, expensive cards, and where are they? They're at bank vaults, they're in safes. And we interviewed Marshall Fogel, right? He's got the best PSA 10 52 mantle on the planet. The poor
yeah,
guy, he can't have that on his desk. He's got to have an 8 by 11
yeah.
printout
But
and a
I would argue
frame.
you wouldn't. I would argue even if you could, you wouldn't.
No.
True. That's true.
That's the thing. Like I have,
Mm.
I have cards too. Like, it's cardboard. Like I'm scared of light. I don't care how
Yes.
much we say or anyone says
Right.
and I think the same goes for art collectors. You have to be really careful about this stuff. And for better or for worse, especially autograph cards, it's not like art. It's much more sensitive, unfortunately. So
Mhm.
I agree. Again, I agree with them. It's just what we hear from our actual customers is a little different. And so we are focused on improving our slabs as we've been doing. I think one thing that's really cool that we've thought about is having a higher end slab for higher end cards.
Mm.
um,
Okay.
you know, kind of going back to our childhood days where, you'd put not that this turns out this is not a good idea, but the giant thick plastic screw downs
Sure.
where like your high end cards had a different feeling and presence. You're like, you threw this like one
Oh
pound piece
yeah.
of plastic.
Squish
But,
them real good. Yeah.
there are, exactly. So there are things you could do with that, like kind of
Huh.
line of thinking.
I
Um,
like that idea, like a premium
yeah,
slab. It'd be kind
maybe.
of
I
cool to
mean, again,
have.
not something we've
Certain
decided to
dollar
do.
value, something like that. It'd
Yeah,
be
not
pretty.
something we've decided to do, but it has to be a PSA thing though. It can't, we're not going to let a PSA. Or we've gotten asked, could you put multiple cards in one holder, and we do that in coin land and with PCGS, but yeah, and again, all these things we're thinking about, they're all good ideas and worth debating.
So,
Yeah,
Nat, we've got a couple more questions. I'm going to do a really fun 90s basketball draft because I know that's
sure.
your jam. You have almost the full PMG green set. I think you're two away. So it's going to be fun.
Three.
But Three,
Three.
sorry.
Three left.
You know. So my last question, LZ's got another one. We just did an interview yesterday, actually, with a company that's offering CAT scanning services
Oh God.
for
Yeah.
boxes and
Mm.
packs. $75 a pack. I witnessed them just scanning an F1 Dynasty box and very easily picked out the serial number, Max Verstappen
Oh,
card. It
wow.
was
Yeah.
freaky. And to me, it just feels like a disruption that's going
Yeah.
to matter in the near term. What are your thoughts on this? Or have you not been exposed to it at all?
No, no, I've seen it. I've not used it. Now you're
That's
getting
not what
me
I'm asking. Okay, yeah.
no,
Well,
no, you're getting me
I'm
interested.
sure you
Yeah.
haven't used it. It's more, what's your observation on how it will impact the hobby and,
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
it's certainly a disruption. I've seen the videos, I've seen the like, identifies logo mans inside of flawless cases.
Hmm.
I think it's the manufacturers, I think, well, first of all, for boxes produced before today, I think, as a potential buyer of those boxes, you have to be very cautious. You basically have to assume that the,
Yep.
box has been
Yeah.
scanned. So I think you could see a price correction in, boxes that are thrown up on eBay, for example, perhaps. But I think, manufacturers, I think, are going to have to respond. I don't know if you put lead, sheets of lead over the packs. That sounds expensive. Or,
I talked to the guys. They said that is the only way is a
I'm
sheet
sure.
of
Yeah. I
lead.
mean, look,
It's
I
crazy.
remember going to Target or Walmart as a kid and seeing the little, like, someone took a scissor to, like, in 93 upper deck or 94 upper deck,
Oh,
I think it was. They'd put a little slit in the pack and then they'd shine a light and see if there's a die cut card. And, then you have the
Mm.
oh, the scales. Yep.
drug scales. Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah.
people have been trying ways to inspect, and you obviously have resealed wax packs and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is a whole new level. I mean, it's been every novice that I talk to about cards, when I show them like an unopened pack that I have, everyone's like, "Well, can't you just X-ray it?" Like, if like any novice, that's their first question, and they're right. Like all of a sudden, like
Hmm.
they're right.
But yeah, we don't think that way. You give it to a 5-year-old, they're like, "Can you see inside like Superman?" Or
No, it's,
something like
but like
that.
it's obviously that's the question. What's in the pack, right?
Right.
And people go to great lengths to figure that out. Apparently, it's awesome. I mean, look, I think it's awesome in the sense that this is, like disruption, innovation at its finest,
Yeah.
and the hobby's going
Hmm.
to have to respond somehow.
Yeah,
Um,
I connected with the Fanatics, the head of measures and standards, and he's kind of befuddled.
yeah, I
Although
mean, they gotta do something.
the interesting thing is these guys say there can be a method of detection. So, and I told them that should be your business model. You send that out, you have a pack that's red, it turns blue. If it's been CAT
Yeah.
scanned, something like that. It could be interesting. But
Weirdly, this makes, I'm just thinking out loud with you, but like weirdly, this makes breaking more interesting because like if the breakers are buying boxes directly from the manufacturer, like as long as the breakers are trusted and they're not scanning, if it's
right.
like
Hmm.
in a Fanatic studio or whatnot studio or whatever, if like there's a chain of
Yeah,
custody of that
exactly. The
box,
chain of custody
Chain of custody
exists,
is
and then
key.
there's no tampering. It
Hmm.
like
does make
weirdly
it
this
more
makes,
interesting.
yeah, like Fanatics Live interesting because you could, like, this box is like straight from
Right.
the
Or you got
It's a virgin box. It
yeah,
yeah.
hasn't
right.
been tampered
I
with.
mean, the one you
I'll
said.
tell you though, like one thing I've noticed, and I tweeted about this the other day, like wax has got, I would argue the CT scanning or whatever, like it may not make a difference. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but the really recently produced wax, like this year's stuff, like I've opened, it's so hard to get your money back in these boxes that like I don't know if I would notice that the box had been scanned before because like I never pull anything. So like, like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong,
You got to
but
go to. So I'm actually sending them 5 packs of 2012 Prism. I'm going to sign them in
that's
Sharpie,
interesting.
and I just want to see if they could see the cards inside. They say they can't, so we'll find out.
So wait, can they detect names and everything?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So they can't do
Autographs.
most
Color?
vin, not color, but
The
and
serial
most.
numbers.
Yes, serial numbers,
Hmm.
names, any embossment or embroidering or anything like that, patchwork. So if the name is embossed or raised, they just use it and see the level.
Yeah.
So if the
I mean,
Kobe
this is
auto's in
like,
there,
yeah, I mean, this will be interesting next
It
few
will.
years. See what
yeah, we
but the
shall
old
see.
boxes, like, 2012 Prism box now, like you got to ask, like, is this box been scanned or not?
Exactly.
Well,
I
and you don't,
totally
and
agree.
there's no way to know. So
That's a perfect candidate for this too. So
yeah, because the gold
it's like,
prisms, like if you hit a, yeah, I mean, it's
and they're
huge.
all raised. They're all, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah, they're all serial
fascinating.
numbered. They're not like green prisms. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I knew you'd geek out on that a little bit.
No,
Excellent.
it's, I mean, it's my brain spin for sure lately. Yeah.
All right, Nat. So my final question before we get to the draft that we're going to surprise you with is you've already touched on a few, but what trends is PSA seeing? Like obviously you must have saw some sort of trend when it comes to comics. You're listening to your customers and certainly you're investing in that. But what other trends are you seeing? And maybe you could actually answer it with the audience in mind. Like what sort of grading are you seeing coming in that maybe something's getting popular that maybe we should go and start collecting?
Yeah. I mean, our fastest growing categories just on that topic are tickets, type one photographs. They're actually not cards. Well,
What
they're,
type of tickets? Is it movie tickets or game
no,
tickets?
it's weird. It's like vintage tickets.
Vintage.
It's vintage sports tickets and entertainment tickets. So like, yeah,
Okay.
concerts, movies,
Mm-hmm.
Olympics. I mean, that's probably because of this year, but
Mm.
we're seeing a lot of, I mean, at the national, oh my God, like so I'm doing this top 100 cards like I did the last few, like I'm going to do one just for tickets. I think we saw the most insane tickets come in at this show. Um,
Really?
like a ticket from Babe Ruth's called Shot Game, debut Muhammad Ali, like just crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, tickets are huge. Dual grade. I was just gonna say autograph stuff, not just cards. Tickets, type one photographs. We're seeing it's not, you're not gonna believe this, but like signed unopened packs. Like we don't have dual grade
What?
yet in
Whoa.
unsealed packs, but we're about to because we're seeing people like we had a guy bring in a 1980 Topps pack signed by Ricky Henderson. Like how cool is that?
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. I mean, if you
Yeah,
had a
like
2012 Prism signed by Kobe, that would be nuts.
right.
You
Or
know?
like
So,
2012, they're all foil in '03, but like, can you imagine like a LeBron or an 86 Fleer Jordan? How cool would that be?
oh,
Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah. Or like the
Mm-hmm.
box I have behind me, 86 Fleer box for those on audio. It's signed by Kareem, Magic, and Bird. And yeah,
Like
if
that's
MJ would
really
sign
cool.
that, that would be
That's super small. I mean, we've seen, a few dozen of these, but yeah, that's a
Okay.
thing. But yeah, in card land, I mean, we're seeing a huge Pokemon has become less of a dominant collectible card game. I know it's probably not your audience, but like, One Piece, Lorcana, Magic even, like we're seeing Pokemon has become, and they've had a weaker release this year, but TCG as a category for PSA has continued to grow, but Pokemon as a percentage of TCG has declined.
Hmm.
huh.
And that's the first time it's happened since I've been here, 4
What
years.
has
So
what has increased in that pie or that market share? Is it
as
Lorcana?
I said, one piece is the biggest.
One
Um,
Piece. Okay.
One Piece. Okay.
and yep, Magic the Gathering would be probably the second biggest. Lorcana.
Wow.
Um,
Fascinating.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
really cool. I mean, like you like to see diversification. So
Of
Sure.
course. Yeah.
yeah, in sports, we're seeing this rule of 25. I don't know if we've talked about, but like after 25 years, something becomes vintage. Like we're seeing 90s. I'm biased here, but like I see it because I watch it every day. 90 sets, like base sets, like 97 metal, not just in basketball, but like 98 EX. These like sets that like you would throw these commons away even a year or two ago. Now we're seeing thousands of them come in a month for grading. And I think
Huh.
it's largely set registry driven. You have guys like last year, a collector won the award for 97 metal basketball, actually, for modern basketball set.
Mm.
Um, so I think I don't know, the 90s kids have all grown up and we're, collecting that stuff.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
it's not just basketball. We're seeing that across the big three sports. Um, yeah, I'd say those are the big
Really
trends.
cool. That's helpful.
Type
Thank
one
you.
photographs are just on fire. I'll tell you
Yeah.
for us.
I
Yeah.
don't understand that,
Photographs.
but yeah, I get it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
get
just
it.
such a skeptic with it. Yeah, I like my $4 Costco printout, but
Mm.
it's okay.
Yeah, for me though, it's the rookie card photos or the card photos. Like I get that real.
Oh,
I
Okay.
totally
Yeah.
get that.
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. So the photo that became the source
Yeah.
for the rookie card.
Like I
Yeah.
totally
I agree with you
understand.
there, especially if it's
Mhm.
signed. That's
Oh
nuts.
my God. Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
I haven't seen a signed type one of a rookie card photo yet, I don't think. But
Oh, I'm sure one's out
that would be
there.
cool.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
would be cool.
We'll have to hunt
Huh.
that one down.
That was really cool. Thanks, Nat.
Yeah.
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 That's great. That's great detail. All right.
The
We're,
draft.
we're getting to the draft. So to the audience, we are going to challenge Nat. Well, not really challenge him. It's more of get his opinion
Mhm.
on a 1990s basketball card draft. So shout out to Adam Gray. the real 27 guy. Adam kind of helped us put this list together.
Mhm.
We told Adam, hey, we got to try to challenge Nat and give us some good cards.
Just trying to stump me, or is this
Yeah,
rating card?
well,
Oh,
no, you should know.
bring it on. I was gonna say I'd love that. Bring it on.
You should know all of these. This is like a tournament, right? So we have
Okay.
different regions. So I will be the tiebreaker. I'm gonna go to both of you guys. All right. So the first one we're calling the green region. All right, Nat. In the green region, we have the PMG Green MJ or the PMG Green Kobe. Which one you taking, Nat?
Jordan.
Nick?
I feel like Jordan is just a better version of Kobe, so I'm going with Jordan.
Okay, I would have picked Jordan too. All right,
All
so
right,
there we
easy.
go. All right, so MJ, I'm writing that one down. All right, next one. We're calling this the affordable region in quotes for people who aren't on YouTube. All right, we have the 1992 Upper Deck Shaq rookie card or the 1990 Skybox Series 1 MJ.
I gotta go Shaq on that one.
Okay. Shaq. Nick, what are you taking?
I'm going Shaq as well because that was my fondest memory collecting as a
Yeah,
kid. I remember getting that redemption card and I felt so special. I like told my parents. I ran to the post office and mailed that out. And when I got the card in, I still have the card. It was a pretty awesome card. So I'm going with that one.
All right, I would have chose Shaq as well. All right, we're calling this the high-end region. All right, so for the high-end region, we have Michael Jordan, 1997, Upper Deck, game jersey out of 23. And we have the 1997 Skybox Jambalaya MJ card.
Oh, I mean, the game jersey auto is the second best Jordan card ever made, so I got to go with that one.
Okay.
It's
All
funny.
right.
It's funny you say second best. I asked Adam to predict where you'd go with this, and you were going to say that's number two. The Jordan is number one, and it's funny because
the green.
he thinks that card's the most important one to the hobby. I'm just going
Which
to
one,
make
the
it
game
interesting.
jersey auto?
Yeah, he thinks
I
it's
mean,
really important to the progression.
It's like you can't go wrong. I mean, they're insane, both those cards.
Right.
I don't know much about that card. I just think the jambalaya is cool, so I'm going with the jambalaya.
Jambalaya is awesome.
I didn't know it existed. Did not know that card existed until like a year ago.
It's so cool. It's such a great card. But
all right, so I'm the tiebreaker. I'm going with the game jersey.
Okay.
I'm going with that one.
First ever jersey auto card. Can't go wrong there.
It looks really nice too. For YouTube, I'll flash all these on the screen. For those on audio, go to YouTube.
And in the final region, we're calling this the Tier 2 GOAT region. We have 1996 Iverson Topps Chrome Rookie versus 1997-98 Topps Chrome Tim Duncan Rookie. What are you going with that?
Yeah, I would actually pick 98 Vince Carter Topps Chrome, but Iverson 96 over Tim Duncan. I mean, Tim Duncan's that's such an iconic nostalgic card, but the Iverson pose, the red, you got to go Topps Chrome 96 Iverson, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Nick?
I'm going with AI too. Tim Duncan, he's just so boring. He's just too fundamentally sound. He needs to be more interesting and more dramatic. So I'm going with AI. The photo's
boring too. He's like doing a layup. Like, I don't know.
No, the AI photos. He's like sweating. Yeah,
he's like screaming. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
All right, so I would have chose AI as well. All right, so now we have the semifinals. So we have PMG Green Michael Jordan versus 92 Shaq rookie Upper Deck.
Jordan.
All right, that's an easy one. That's an easy one.
To the finals. Yeah.
All right, Nick. Do I even have to ask?
This is Westfield State snuck into the Sweet 16, and they're just about to get stomped by 50. So Jordan advances.
All right. Oh geez, I think I might know how maybe this one goes too. All right. Semifinals on the west side, we have the 1997 Upper Deck game jersey auto MJ versus the 1996 Allen Iverson Topps Chrome rookie.
MJ.
MJ versus MJ. Nick, are you going to disagree with Nat?
I feel like we needed a more balanced bracket, but I'm going with MJ on this one
these
too.
out better. All right, so the
finals are going to be good though.
This is the real decision. All right. We have the PMG green MJ versus the Upper Deck game jersey auto out of 23. Nat, what are you
Yeah, I mean,
choosing?
I think the PMG green, I mean, I agree with Adam. Like the jersey's probably more important to the hobby, but to me
Hmm.
personally, the PMG green, it's rare. There's only 10 versus 23. It's visually stunning. I gotta go. I gotta go
Hmm.
for PMG green.
Okay. Nick.
Man, so the PMG green is badass. I love that. I might even start tinkering with the precious metals because I'm good at finding stuff. But I am an autograph guy down to the
Mm.
core. And so I'm going with what Adam picked. I'm going with the MJ auto.
Oh,
So
so
you're
it
breaking
comes
the
down
tie,
to me.
LC.
I'm also an autograph guy. Um, oh,
I'll
I-
make it harder for you. What if the patch was, most of the patches are solid white. If you had
oh,
one of the jerseys, one of the patches where it's got the All-Star logo,
yeah.
that's like my
Oh,
answer might change.
yeah. My answer
Or
would
what if the
change
PMG
too.
green was autographed? I mean, that would be insane.
No, 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 no. You can't
No,
Can't do
stop
that,
it
right?
now.
That would
That's
taint it.
crazy talk.
you can't deface a PMG
That's
green.
crazy talk. All right,
No.
I'm gonna go with PMG. I'm gonna
Yes.
give it to Nat. Simply because of the rarity and that set is so iconic. I'm gonna give it to Nat.
So good. Yeah.
All right.
All
Well, it's
right.
kind of what it's like you rooted for Duke and Duke won, like you had your team advance. That was a good finals. It was a
Yeah,
terrible
those are the two cards. I
terrible
mean,
Elite Eight.
Yeah.
what else would there be unless you choose one of ones? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's Adam did want to put that disclaimer on this. This is the no one of ones allowed list.
Oh,
So
yes, I should
The
have
other one
given
would have
that
been the
disclaimer.
credentials now out of 9. But
yeah, the essential credentials, those are
yeah.
those are nice
Hmm.
too. All right, Nat, I think we've tortured you enough.
No.
This was helpful. I will say this, that everybody probably knows how to get to PSA and how to find you and everything. But I will say, we're getting bigger, and somebody may know of somebody who has a Robert Pack PMG green. So
Yes.
why don't you tell the audience what cards you're missing for your PMG green set and how to find you on Instagram if they find them?
Yeah, so 97 metal, precious metal gems green. I'm missing Robert Pack, which has not been graded by any of the grading companies, and no one that I know has seen one. But this time last year, Del Curry and Brian Grant had also never been seen, and I got both of those. So there is hope yet. Christian Leitner, I'm aware of one of those, and then John Stockton. And Adams, I think, had one of those. I'm aware of two of those. So those are the three I'm missing. Nat S Turner _ cards on Instagram.
All
And
right.
I've had a couple people be like, I know where one is, and then it's
Yeah.
like a red any leads are welcome though. Any
If you
leads.
find that, you get a private whatever you want to PSA. You can get a private
Yeah,
signing with any player. Nat will hook you
Yes.
up. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
Nat
I'm
will
just
hook you
kidding.
up.
I love the yeah. If the Stockton, the John Stockton has some big PC collectors, mostly in Utah, and you know, it's I'm under yeah, that's gonna be tough.
But at
Yeah.
least at least you know it exists. Like the Robert
Oh
Pack
no,
is
the fact that I know it
scary.
exists, yeah, yeah. There's not
Yeah.
that many Leitner power personal collectors, so
Yeah.
I'm
I
more
think you'll
hopeful
get
on that
that.
one.
I think the last card will be Robert Pack because that probably ended up in the trash or something.
It's in
Ugh,
a pack
man.
Yeah.
somewhere.
It's got to
The
be. And
Del
those
Curry, the Del Curry and the Brian Grant, funny and coincidentally, were both in Japan.
Oh, okay.
you
Like
never
how weird is
know.
that?
This is the stuff I
Hey.
lose sleep about, like the attics. This stuff is in, like the mom empties the college kid's
Yeah.
attic, and
Hmm.
what's this green thing? And oh,
The
tears.
was it 3 years ago? The Jordan 98 Rubies 23 out of 50 was in a same thing, was in a binder. Kid binder. I mean, unbelievable.
They're out there. That's why I'm
Unbelievable.
in the hobby, the treasure hunt. That's just crazy. You can
Yeah,
find
every now
something
and
like
then.
that.
Every now
Yep.
and then.
Nat, thanks so much.
Yeah,
It's
of
a great episode. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll get you back on again in the future, but it was nice
course.
to riff with you. Thanks again.
Yeah. You
Thanks,
too.
Nat.